After almost 2 years of marriage and only 3 months since being released from prison, Gypsy Rose Blanchard announced her separation from her husband, Ryan Scott Anderson. On March 28th, Gypsy shared on her private Facebook account that her and Ryan were separating. The post says, "People have been asking what is going on in my life. Unfortunately, my husband and I are going through a separation and I moved in with my parents home down the Bayou. I have the support of my family and friends to help guide me through this. I am learning to listen to my heart. Right now, I need time to let myself find who I am." But not only is Gypsy and Ryan splitting, apparently she's also back with her ex-fiance, Ken Urker. Photos have been circulating the internet of Gypsy and Ken at a tattoo shop, and it looks like Ken is getting a tattoo with Gypsy, and people are quickly calling it out that they were for sure getting matching tattoos. So basically, Gypsy announced her separation from Ryan on March 28th, and this photo was taken only a few days later. As you all know, Gypsy was recently released from prison on December 2023 after spending almost 8 years in prison for murdering her mother. While in there, Gypsy got engaged twice. First, it was with Ken. They broke off their engagement, and then she met Ryan. They got engaged and then got married while she was still in prison. And after her release 4 months ago, Gypsy and Ryan began their life together, and Gypsy was living with Ryan at his house in Louisiana. But their relationship only lasted 3 months until they broke it off last week. So much has happened since their split. It seems like Gypsy has moved on already, and she was spotted getting matching tattoos with her ex-fiance Ken Urker. So let's talk about it. At first, when I found out that Gypsy and Ryan were splitting up, I thought, well, I'm not surprised. It was obvious that Gypsy was gonna have a hard time getting accustomed to her new life outside of prison. I mean, she's essentially been locked up her entire life. First with her mother, who isolated her from the entire world, and then she went to prison for almost 8 years. Gypsy never really experienced what a real relationship is. Her only relationship before prison was with Nate Godejohn, the same person that helped her murder her mother. But let's backtrack a little before we talk about how Gypsy and Ken ended up together again. While Gypsy was in prison, she began a relationship in 2018 with Ken Urker. They got engaged a year and a half later, but Ken ended up breaking off their engagement only 4 months after. Apparently, he broke up with Gypsy after he watched a series that premiered in 2019 called The Act, which was based on Gypsy's story. This series was really popular at the time, and because it shared so many personal details about Gypsy and what she did, people had a lot to say about her, which brought so much unwanted attention to Ken and their relationship. Gypsy said that her personal life became super public, and with that came a lot of people mocking and shaming their relationship, which was really hard on Ken. In an interview, she said that Ken was a private person and didn't want the attention or the scrutiny. While I understood and shared in his sentiment, I took it hard when he ended our relationship. But Gypsy eventually moved on, and she met Ryan Anderson. It wasn't long until Ryan and Gypsy got engaged and then eventually got married in prison. And then after her release in December, she moved in with Ryan in his home in Louisiana. But even though Gypsy claimed that she was in love with Ryan, her parents warned her and advised her not to get married. They thought that it was too soon, and they felt that Gypsy should take some time to be alone and live with her family until she was ready to commit to someone. And I feel like that's true. Gypsy still didn't fully know herself, let alone what she wanted in a partner. And I mean, she's still so young, and there's so much time for her to learn and explore about what she wants in a relationship, especially considering her past relationships and how traumatic they were. I would slow down and take my time. When Gypsy was released, she quickly began doing interviews, literally only a few days later. And when she sat down in these interviews with Ryan, they both sounded very confident about their future. They talked about redoing their wedding outside of prison with a beautiful ceremony with friends and family. They even got a puppy together, which after their breakup, I wonder who that puppy went to. Overall, they seemed like they were in a good place and ready to take the next steps in their relationship. But even though she was excited about their married life after prison, she was also very anxious. Gypsy was worried how how her and Ryan would navigate through disagreements and said, I think the only fear that I have is honestly just making sure that we have good conflict resolution. I'm a very in the moment type of person, so I want to make sure if we have an argument, I want to clear it up in the moment. He is the opposite, where he has to sit on things and think about it and then come back a couple hours later and resolve it. But Gypsy also said this: I've never lived with a man. I grew up with a mom. I didn't even grow up with a dad in the house, so I don't even know what it's like to live with a man. So clearly there was some anxiety and doubt in Gypsy's mind from the very beginning. Now, I don't know much about Ryan, but from what I've seen in the docuseries and interviews, he seems like a genuine good man who cares about Gypsy. I don't know, that's just the vibe I got from him from the very beginning, but I don't want to assume anything because you really don't know what happens behind closed doors. But despite all this, it seems like the relationship just went downhill. And people had a lot to say about this. Do you guys remember when Gypsy commented this about Ryan? She said, "They are jealous because you are rocking my world every night." Yeah, I said it. The D is fire. So for some reason, people can't really let this go. And everyone's taking the opportunity to troll about this comment and just saying that maybe the D just wasn't that fire. Now, after Gypsy spent all this time after her release doing all these interviews, she then deleted her social media.
And you know what? I had absolutely no trouble or doubts of deleting that public one. And I have people that are like, oh my God, you're insane for deleting that kind of a following. And I'm like, I could give a F about a following. That's not real life.
She had over 8 million followers on Instagram, TikTok, but she felt like she had to delete her social media because there were just too many eyes on her. A source told People her shift off of social media was at the advisement of a parole officer to keep Gypsy out of trouble and from going back to jail. Obviously, there are a lot of people who don't like Gypsy because of what she did. And I guess their fear was that someone would try to do or say something maliciously in order to get Gypsy in trouble again. But ever since Gypsy's been off social media, we haven't really heard much of her until now. So let's talk about this tattoo that Gypsy got with her ex-fiance. In an interview with People, Ken's mother spoke out to the media and she explained everything. Her name is Raina Williams and she confirmed that Gypsy and Ken went out to get lunch together and then they went to a tattoo parlor in the days after Gypsy announced her split from Ryan. Gypsy's cousin Bobby, who owns the tattoo parlor, confirms to People the pair got tattoos together. And no, not just separate tattoos, they got matching tattoos. According to Bobby, Gypsy and Ken got matching husky tattoos, which is a symbol for their strong bond. I literally have so many questions right now. It's one thing to get matching tattoos with your husband or wife, but with your ex-fiance, Gypsy didn't even get a matching tattoo with Ryan and they were married. Nadia Vizier, the artist who did both of their tattoos, tells People that Ken's tattoo is on his left forearm and Gypsy's is on her right forearm. She says that when they put their arms together that both dogs face each other. So yeah, that's definitely a matching tattoo. But Ken's mother says that they are not back together. They're very cool. Ken is just being a supportive friend to her and that's it. There's no way you just get a matching tattoo with your ex and you guys are just friends. Ken's mother also stated,
I look deeper into people's mistakes. I've always been a very non-judgmental person. And do I think Gypsy did wrong? Yes, I do. I've met Gypsy and guess what? She knows she did wrong too. If Gypsy could go back in time, she would do something different, but none of us can do that. I think all the hate is ridiculous.
She also said that her family really sympathizes with Gypsy and that her and Ken watched Mommy, Dad, and Dearest, which was a documentary that came out in 2017. And that's actually how they learned about Gypsy's story, and Ken told his mom that he was going to write to Gypsy and she said that it was a good idea. So basically, Ken's mother's been supportive of Gypsy from the very beginning. Ken's mother also said that there are no plans on a romantic scale right now between Gypsy and Ken. She goes on to say, "My son has never had any kind of ill intentions towards Gypsy. It devastated him when they broke up the first time, but he truly thought that was best for Gypsy." I don't know, I truly don't see Ken and Gypsy just being friends. I feel like there is more to it. From what I see, I feel like Gypsy's just really curious to see where things can go with Ken. I mean, they were engaged at one point, and Gypsy also said that she was devastated and really heartbroken when Ken broke up with her. So maybe she has this urge to want to see where things can go. And let's not forget that Gypsy admitted that she was still in contact with Ken in the weeks leading up to her wedding with Ryan. She also admitted to still having feelings for him. So it kind of just feels like she wanted to be with Ken all along, and when she couldn't and Ryan came along, she just settled for Ryan. But also, let's not forget that Gypsy has a reality TV show coming out soon. And I don't know if all this drama is related directly to the reality TV show, but maybe producers are trying to bring all this attention so that people watch the show when it comes out. I think that Gypsy really needs to take some time to be alone and work through her trauma, issues, and codependency. I think that she craves being with someone at all times, and that's why she's jumping from one relationship to another with no time in between. But those are all the updates we have right now about Gypsy and her separation and what she's been up to with her ex-fiance. What do you guys think about this? So much has happened in only a span of 3 months. Do you think Gypsy and Ken are just friends, or do you think there's more going on between them? Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell so you're notified about my next video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.